No one is thinking, okay, what am I going to do right now? We have limited inventory. Interest rates are still high. What are we going to do creatively in order to get people off of the bench? 80% of our industry needs to be 1099 because you're not hireable. Here's one thing about that 20%. They all have a unique selling proposition. They've all differentiated themselves from the 80%. What does your skill set say about you, and how are you leveraging it? So today I am doing a webinar with Rental Beast and the National Association of Realtors, of course, for rental. And what hit me as I was preparing their class was that an expired listing isn't just an expired listing to be relisted. It is an expired listing available for rental properties. And what I've come to realize is, yes, you might have been taught one thing, but that doesn't mean how you're supposed to leverage it. 20 some years ago, I was in pharmaceutical sales, and we would write these products and we would call them off script, kind of like Ozempic, right? Ozempic essentially started because for diabetics, right? However, now it is like the weight loss phenomenon. That was off script, which is why they've come up with other products. When you learn a skill set and you get a real estate license, the real question you have to ask yourself is, how many different ways can I leverage this real estate license, and what additional skills do I bring to the situation? For me, I've always been very creative and thinking outside of the box. I've never wanted to run my business and do it the way that other people do their business, but I'm an entrepreneur at the core of my being. When I came into the world of real estate, the reason I was able to be in the top 10% of realtors in the first 12 months full time is because at the time I was what they called a discount real estate brokerage firm. That meant that I was charging a lower percentage, which means I was taking a hit to my income versus what I was making available for other agents per the MLS. It is the one thing that differentiated me when I came into the world of real estate. Well, within a couple of years, we started to hear mumblings about foreclosures and short sales. I was 9 months pregnant, drove up to Appleton, Wisconsin. My husband did 9 months pregnant for me to take the SFR class in February of 2007. That was another pivot move. At the same time, I started learning about social media and technology. Now, honestly, all you need is one real estate license. I don't need 64 real estate related licenses, designations, and certifications. I just need one license, an Illinois broker's license, to parlay and do everything that I do. But as I was creating that course for the rental industry, I am a residential girl. And I was like, okay, how do I make this make sense? So the same way, and I'm going to give you some tools that you can use. When we're leveraging artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, I've developed a new expired campaign where every single morning you come in and you look at the expired listings. I'm going to tell you right now, the reason 90% of the time these listings are expiring is because they're not visually appealing. You don't have enough photos. You have a lack of staging in these photos. With all of the different AI tools that exist and the ability to give full disclaimer, there's no reason that your property should not have visual appeal or that you should only have 5 or fewer photos. So shame on the listing agent. I just can call you out now. In today's society, with you having less than 5 photos, that is not acceptable under no circumstances. And there are too many other tools for you to be able to use to allow people to visualize what their stuff will look like in that space, right? So totally unacceptable. So every single day I'm coming over and I'm taking a look at all the expireds, right? And I'm going in and I'm looking at the different pictures. Well, inside of ChatGPT, now for free, since they decide they're going to give everything away, there is a tool called the Home Style Advisor. Now I'm teaching this afternoon. In the Home Style Advisor, I am able to go and download the pictures from the MLS. Here's the warning. All photos in the MLS are copyright protected. Those are not your photos. You cannot reshare those photos. But it does not mean, and I just want you to be clear, no one knows that you're downloading these pictures to augment those photos. So I'm taking a look at those pictures, right? And I am doing a styling guide recommendation off of photos alone. You only need one good photo. One good photo. You don't have to do it for every room. If you did it for every room, you'd have a nice little booklet, but for one picture. And it gives me within a minute styling recommendations. And then I say, create an after photo. And it gives you this very dreamlike photo, right? So instead of us just reaching out to an expired, talking about, oh, I want to come list your house or whatever your script is, right? We're providing an item of value. Why is value important? Value is important right now as we go through the NAR settlement agreement. Value and value add is what I have been teaching from day one. What are you going to do to differentiate yourself and what is the value to the client? Hence, discount real estate brokerage firm, foreclosures and short sales, technology, AI. So I'm practicing what it is that I'm preaching. And so you now have a styling recommendation. Now, the next thing I'm not going to mention, but there is one too that a lot of realtors have access to via their MLS that allow you to find a person's email address and phone number. I'm not going to mention that app, okay? They're going to get that today on the class. And it's going to be controversial because guess what? The same way people were using Ozempic for weight loss before it was approved for weight loss, this tool is not designed for you to look up email addresses and phone numbers, but it's available inside of the system, okay? And so no one is thinking, okay, what am I going to do right now? We have limited inventory. Interest rates are still high. What are we going to do creatively in order to get people off of the bench? So I was at an open house yesterday with Skylar. At that open house, because usually I'm not doing open houses, right? It was an eye-opener. The transition in the community was an eye-opener. The questions that were being asked, but as an OG, like I came in and I'm holding conversations, you know, do you have an agent? Have you discussed the 203K with your loan originator and with your agent? Look, we're going to have multiple bids on this property. I recommend that you get back with your agent as soon as possible to submit that offer. We could tell them when the seller wanted to close, hey, this will be in total alignment with a 203K. Have you noticed what the comps are? Oh, well, we're seeing $350,000 after repair value. So I'm walking through to put ideas in their head, right? As an agent. But the 203K loan, right, is yet another way to reposition yourself in the industry. I wasn't going to say this, but I'm going to say it. Hey, Sarah Ware, what's going on, Sue? The other day, I had the great honor of seeing James Wiggins. We were speakers together at Long Island Board of Realtors. And when I tell you his presentation is phenomenal, the data that he has just blew my mind, okay? But I'm a big fan girl. So as I'm sitting there, it hits me about advocacy. And one of the reasons that you have the ability to be a 1099 employee is because of the advocacy of the National Association of Realtors. You would not be a 1099 real estate agent if it was not for the National Association of Realtors and all of its advocates, okay? Well, instantly, some real estate agents are like, well, I want to be an employee. You're not employable. No one is going to hire you. And here's why. 20% of the agents do 80% of the business, okay? If 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the business, it's only 20% anybody wants to hire. So that means that 80% of agents are not employable if they were not 1099. So 1099 allows you the ability to do this part-time. 1099 allows you the ability to set your own schedule. 1099 allows you the ability to not be consistent and to not have a schedule. A 1099 allows you the ability to not have enough contacts in your customer relationship management system in order to earn the amount of money in which you need to earn in order to pay your bills. So 80% of our industry, right, needs to be 1099 because you're not hireable. And the 20% that are doing 80% of the business don't want to be hired. They love being 1099. They understand that the likelihood of them making the kind of money they make in real estate would be virtually impossible. Here's one thing about that 20%. They all have a unique selling proposition. They've all differentiated themselves from the 80%ers. They are the people who set the trends and the tone of the industry, right? And so when people are saying, well, what does NAR do for me? We're your advocates. We're the reason that you can now go and sign a buyer representation agreement with an offer of compensation from a VA buyer or a buyer obtaining a VA loan. We're the reason that you get substantial tax write-offs. I'm going to talk about that in another one. We're the reason that you get to be 1099 and you talk about, oh, I want to be hired. No one is going to hire you. I can tell you that right now. You have not developed the skill set. If you don't have a successful real estate business, and if you have a successful real estate business, you don't want to be hired because you realize they ain't going to pay you what you worth anyway. Yeah, I wanted to see how I was going to sneak that part in because I got a whole post coming about that. The whole advocacy piece and the fact that I'm hearing people talk about, well, I want to be an employee anyway, but I wouldn't hire you. So now when real estate agents say that, I want to see what their numbers look like. I want to know what your profit was from last year. I want to know if you're making above average income, right? And there are some companies that will hire you, but they're going to work you, baby. They're going to work you harder than you've ever been worked before. You're going to be accountable. You're going to be, look, they're going to know where you at when you go get your hair cut, because guess what? That got to be on your calendar. All right, guys. So I came on over here. What y'all doing today? It's Monday. I'm doing a webinar today for Rental Beast. I will come back and post that in the next post. Come over, hop on, learn how to leverage Home Style Advisor. Yes, baby, it is one of the greatest custom GPTs out there that will allow you. I think I'm going to give you two things in that webinar. I'm going to tell you the tool that I'm talking about, and I'm going to give you another virtual staging tool to use, because this past weekend I went to go learn how to make my new illustrations and my coloring books. What's going on, Michael? So we just over here this Monday morning. One, I'm in a 30-day video challenge, and let me just tell you, I have not been videoing, so I gotta get back. Number two, I wanted to discuss leveraging one skill to do multiple things. And so in closing, I leveraged having a real estate license to becoming a global keynote speaker. It started with a real estate license. I then became a Illinois pre-licensed and continuing education instructor. I then became a REBAC approved instructor. So that's for your designations and your certifications. I am approved to teach for the Real Estate Business Institute. I am a retired certified CRS instructor. Okay. All of those things happened that allowed me to cultivate and build relationships to become a global keynote speaker. As a keynote speaker, what was the additional skill set that I needed? I needed the ability to be able to tell a story. Storytelling skill set is needed to be a good keynote speaker. I am an excellent keynote speaker. I can tell you a story, okay? But I teach you something in the midst of telling you my story. I'm going to give you some new tools. I'm going to tell you how to use those tools as I wind the story of my life. The reason that I'm, I would say, good to great or great to phenomenal is because I weave in my personal life. And because of social media, I have all of the social proof. So when we were at Realtor legislative meetings, I actually have the pictures of me being 9 months pregnant in Springfield for Illinois Lobby Day. Okay. So that's in there. So what you can't tell me is how long I have not been advocating, right? I've been advocating since day one. I got those pictures. I'm doing something where I've already started to manifest this in my mind, and it's about volunteering, where I'm going back to the United Negro College Fund with me volunteering as a sophomore in high school. Why? Because I got the picture and I got the newspaper articles to go with it. And so, guys, today, I don't want you to just look at it as being one way. I want you to think about that one skill set that you can repurpose to do multiple things, because I took one real estate license and parlayed it into a phenomenal, profitable business. My company is profitable every single year. I'm going to even say this. My company is profitable after paying salaries, 401k, and it earns over six figures in profitability every single year. That's what I'll put there, okay? Because I treat this like a business. But I'm looking at trends and I'm taking this one license and saying, okay, how many different ways can I use this license? Because when I got the real estate license, I was clear on what I was not going to be doing at the age of 40. So you got to be clear about what you want to do and what you don't want to do. And it's kind of funny when people ask me, well, now, first of all, I came and taught them a plethora of stuff. Well, are you still out in the field? When you want me to be in the field? When you want me to find that time? Okay, I'm a CTO and a CAIO. I'm in the C-suite in two different companies. What, you want me to find the time to do that too? No, I don't do that. I do everything except open and close doors. And yesterday, yes, I was sitting at an open house and I learned a lot sitting in that open house. So there are new classes that will come as a result of me being in the field yesterday, sitting at that open house and seeing the changes that I'm seeing to the southwest side of the city of Chicago. All right. Y'all go on and make it a fabulous and wonderful Monday morning.